What is up, YouTube? It's Doomzer from Team Relentless here, coming at you with a deck profile. Today we're going to be looking at Branded. I've been having a lot of success with this deck going into Nats this coming week in Minnesota, but I've also been having a lot of success with Sky Striker, Radiant, and Mitsurugi as well, so I'm deciding between those three decks what deck to bring with me. But this deck in particular, I've had success with and felt more confident talking to you guys about the deck list itself. I don't think there'll be too many changes left to be made to this deck in particular, but it is still a work in progress. I still might make changes, and that's why I'm summoning the Branded community to give me feedback. I wanted to shout out Oblivion Games, Sunshine Games, as well as Metagames GX. His deck profile and his explanation of the Mixusia combo really made me feel confident with this deck list, but I also have some tweaks that I made to it. Not because I disagree with his mythology, but just because I wanted to be able to keep playing the game with the Branded Fusion if they stopped me going into Mixusia. Because what I've learned is that combo is very linear. It is a nice combo if your opponent just says, yeah, go for it, do what you got to do. But if they interrupt you with hand traps, it could make the deck a little like halt in its tracks a little bit. So I wanted to have different avenues to get to where I want to be in those circumstances. So we'll talk more about that at the end of the video. For now, let's just get right into the deck profile. So for the main deck, we're going 3 of these guys. That's standard. We're going to do the 1 Quem and 2 Cartesia package. That's standard as well. And we also are on the double Ecclesia and the Dogmatica Ecclesia. That's also standard. This is something that you special at the end phase for the Mixusia combo, so I like having it there. It's also, you want to have the 2 Dogmatica targets for Titaniclad. And then I am on 1 Branded opening and double Aluber. I think that's the right ratio right now. There is times where you open up both of these in the same hand, and that sucks a lot. So we might tinker with, the amount of Branded openings and the amount of Alubers. But for right now, I'm sticking with that. So that's that for the main monster lineup. And then we're also on the 1-ups too. I'll talk about that real quick as well. So then we have the Albion, the Tri-Brigade Spin Against Kit, the Sword Soul, the Tri-Brigade and Courier, and then we are on 1 Pharah. Pharah, obviously, if you open that up with Branded opening, it's really nice. Branded High Spirits, rather. And Tri-Brigade, all these cards are High Spirits targets. This is the end piece that you add with Dogma, so you have that Monster Army negate. Pharah just sets up your High Spirits so that you're able to perform better and play through that without being interrupted, which is huge. This is part of the combo piece. You really don't want to see these in your main hand. That's why in the deck profile I saw that was running Sprint Against Kit that Metagames posted. I did understand what it's used for, and I like that because you want to put these guys back in your deck if you have them in your hand, and grab that copy of High Spirits to your hand if you don't have that. When I was doing some playtesting though, Sprint Against Kit, in my opinion, I don't know if it was like the way I was playing, if I'm still trying to learn the combo and stuff like that, but I personally felt like these were really bricky, and so was the Sprint Against Kit. I felt like it was doing me more of a disservice playing that card. We'll talk more about that as we go on, but yeah, obviously, and then we play the 1 Albion. And then, so the difference between my deck and the other deck that I was referencing is that I am on 1 Sarnier instead of Magma. Magma's on the side, don't worry, but I am playing the Sword and I am playing the Retribution obviously, but the Sword, I want to be able to keep playing the traditional Branded Fusion line if they stop me in my tracks on making Mixusia. So if we somehow find a way to get Branded Fusion to our hand, and we haven't already went into a Synchro Monster, we can go into our Branded Fusion combo and get out a good end board. So I'm testing with that. These, obviously, those changes might still be made. We might go back to, the new variant, rather, I guess you could say. But for now, I'm just kind of playing around so I can have more avenues. And then we're on for the spells. We have 3 High Spirits, 3 Nadir, 3 FMV, and then 1 Branded Fusion. That's all standard stuff. Not really too much to talk about there. You want to have as many starters as possible so that if they stop one thing, you can go into the other. For the non-engine, we are playing 3 Flawless. That's obvious and standard. 3 Ash, 3 Super Poly, and 1 Call By. Obviously, the Ash I wouldn't say is standard. Some people are against Ash in the main. It isn't a high spirits target, but what I play it for is, some of my locals told me, this is a good way to look at it. If your deck loses to Fua, you gotta play Ash. I think it's something that is mandatory and branded personally. Because think about it, guys. You open up with Wowbaz, you go summon out Wowbaz, try to attempt to summon Ecclesia from deck. Your opponent chains Fua. You don't have one of these 4 cards in your hand to stop that interaction. Then your opponent's going to draw a lot. And now with Pot of Sloth in the format, I'd say that you want to win that game 1 as much as possible. You don't want to give them a million draws game 1. And then they go, say you win still, and they side deck going second, and they side in Pot of Sloth, then you're screwed either way. Like, you're giving them multiple opportunities in the match to set up their hands and to have multiple avenues to beat you. And I think that just keeping their hands minimal in that game 1 interaction is huge. And I mean, if I'm going into a game situation where I feel like they're able to chain Fua, they're gonna Pot of Sloth me, whatever, those are both going second cards. I'm keeping the Ashes in my deck going first. So I'd rather just have it and it sit in my hand, say I do my whole combo, and they don't do any of that, cool. Then I have Ash for follow-up next turn. It's kind of the same. You're trading 1-for-1 interruptions. The other alternative, what I've seen some people play, is the Crown and the Droplets. And that's a 1-for-1 interact. I mean, obviously not Droplet. Droplet, you can chain it for multiple cards. But Crown is a 1-for-1 interaction, and, it is interchangeable. I would just, in those situations where my opponent chains Fua, that Crown's doing me nothing. So I'd rather have the Ashes. But again, we're still playing around. For the extra deck, double Albion, 1 Rebellion, standard, double Dogma, 1 Titaniclad, and then 1 Rimbrum, 1 Mirror Jade, and for obviously the Ecclesia, right? And then for the difference is a lot of people on 1 Grand Guignol now because of the Mixusio package. You don't really need it, but because I am playing the Branded Sword combo, I am on double Grand Guignol and 1 Quartus, and then the 1 Sword Soul Champion, the 1 Mixusia, and the Chaos Star Source. So that is where I'd say you don't need the other Borreload, which was the other difference, right? It's 1 Grand Guignol, the Borreload, and the Chaos Star Source. You're usually chaining whatever you want with Mixusia, so just bring out the Star Source at an opportune time, and you can get more than 1 pop. It's up to, so even if you have 1 target only, you can just do that 1. But you have the option to go into 2 pops. So, yes, I get it, Borreload is a quick effect, but I don't see the need to have 2 cards that basically do the same thing. The 1 Great Guignol in this scenario is to send off High Spirits if you have a Spellcaster, and then the other one is for the Branded Sword combo, just in case. So, I mean, obviously we're still tinkering around. We don't know what we're going to settle on, but I've been having a lot of success with this variant, guys. I would encourage you doing some testing with it, and just give me your feedback, obviously. And then for the side deck, for the going first cards, we are on 3 Mistaken Arrest. Yes, I get it. It's a toxic card, but you got to play it. There's a lot of decks out there that if you let them draw a million cards, then they beat you. If you don't let them draw any cards, then you beat them. So that's just my mythology with it. It's a great going first card. You set up your whole field, and then you set that card, and you pass your opponent. like a lot of the times, it's a 90% win rate, in my opinion. And then double Droll, 1 Magnemite. I do got to play it in the side. The only difference is that I do get it for going first. You might want to rather have this guy in there. The only time, and unless I'm just obviously playing it weird and I'm not doing it the way I'm supposed to, but I just haven't maybe noticed that yet. For me, it seems rather clear. If you have Sarnier and you send it to grave for the Branded Sword combo, you're going to send the sword. The only time you wouldn't do that is if you, earlier in the turn, maybe you use Sarnier for a High Spirits and you already sent the sword, and then you go into Grand Guignol later on for the Branded Fusion line, you have nothing else to send, well, then you would send this card. And then you're looking at maybe at the end phase, you're setting a FMV, and you can revive this guy, and now your opponent, if they're playing quick play spells, they're kind of screwed, right? So I would just say, in summary, the Magnemite comes up more than the Diabells. Going first or going second, right? The only issue I have with it is if you go through your whole turn and you want to just, maybe you go through your whole end board, right? You doing Magnemite and on your turn and adding a Wowbaz, like that's just follow up for next turn. Yeah, I'd rather just keep it in hand, use it as a hand trap. So it is kind of like a going first card, but it's more of a going second card unless you really need to get that Wowbaz to your hand in the end phase. But then again, you're just kind of like, you don't want to be in a scenario where you didn't do anything the whole turn and you're just relying on that card to come to your hand in the end phase. And then we're also on the 3 Purlia, 3 Lava Golem, and the Harpy's Feather Duster and Lightning Storm for throwing second cards. Lava Golem for the Doom Z matchup, Purlia for cards that are going first, or that summon from the hand a lot, and then the obvious other cards. So that is the side deck. What I would like for the Bandit community is for you guys to give me your feedback in the comments below. Obviously, be nice, but share your thoughts. I'm trying to learn. I'm trying to grow. If I bring this deck with me to Nats, I want to have as much insight as possible, and maybe there's things that you would change about my deck, that you don't like. But I would encourage you guys trying this variant out and giving me feedback. Again, I wanted to shout out Metagames GX, Sunshine Games, and Oblivion Games in Tampa. Everybody else from Team Relentless, Nick, everybody that's supporting me. And I just, again, give me your thoughts below. And like, comment, subscribe. Until next time, peace.